Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and it's time for another Breakfast with Blaha. And today I'm having steak, brown rice, and broccoli. Breakfast of Champions, and let's talk a little bit about food quality and recovery. Again, this is something that kind of flies in the face of this whole flexible dieting thing. We need to be specific in our context here. Some of what I'm going to say here, the higher your calories go, the less it might matter. In other words, some of the inflammation could be a problem, eating high inflammatory foods, okay? But if you're young and healthy and super active, it might not be as big of a deal. If I got a kid who's trying to bulk on 4,000 calories because that's what he needs to gain, and I'm going to say this nicely, I don't think all my kids are honest with me about this. I don't think a lot of them eat what they claim they eat when they measure it, even though I'm having to force them to eat junk. Because their numbers, their output numbers and scale weight's not even close to what it should be. Right? Like when I say that with a lot of my kids, some of my kids, I can't gain weight on 3,800 calories. I go up to 4,000. They stall at 4,000. They're not weighing 220 here, guys. These are sub 200 pound guys who aren't playing any real sports. I question that sometimes, but I digress. If your calories are high enough, all right, fine, you can avoid, you don't necessarily need to focus as much on antioxidants and all that stuff in your diet. And for those of us who are not doing that, how about someone like me? I'm cutting. Right? Like as of this week, at the moment, I'm doing 2,900 calories a day. That's low for me. My food quality matters. I'm a master's lifter. I'll probably should be 45 by the time this video actually comes out. This matters. Inflammation matters. And when we start looking at all the compiled data we have, who has the lowest inflammatory markers in their bloodstream? People who eat the lowest amount of refined foods. In other words, refined sugars, refined oils, butter, even refined carbohydrates. This is what seems to cause inflammation. Too much saturated fat. And the source of that even matters. Again, butter being one of the worst. You will never convince me butter's a health food. I'll see the blood work of people who eat lots of butter. It's not. It's garbage. It's a junk food. And it's not because it's from milk. Because it's a processed separated fat from milk. This had all the nutritional value stripped from it. There's not shit in it. It's just a clump of refined saturated fat with salt added. Most of the good stuff's been removed that's in milk. But that's kind of the point. Inflammatory markers go way up. Now, people say, but Jason, don't we need inflammation from training? Haven't you said that taking anti-inflammatories can impede potential muscle growth? Yeah, but that's not the same thing as having an anti-inflammatory diet. Your training is going to cause inflammation. And here's the thing. The lower you can get your overall inflammation in your body, the easier you recover from training. The less your tendons hurt from training, the more we can train. The lower our overuse in our tendons and things from training. All this discussion of overuse, there's a diet component. Having tons of antioxidants, polyphenols, things like that in your diet, anti-inflammatory fats in your diet instead of pro-inflammatory ones. This will affect your recovery from training. If it affects your recovery from training, we come back over from that stimulus versus recovery discussion again. You grow from what you recover from. You don't grow from what you do, you grow from what you recover from. If your recovery is better and you can handle several more sets a week because of it, we can grow more. We can do more work. That's why, volume is so individual. That's why I deal with my individual clients, and I'll have 3 different clients on similar programming. They all might be on a conjugate or 5-3-1 type template. Their volumes will be completely different. Why? All my clients require different volumes. Some require more deloads. Some require no deloads. Food quality is a factor. Food quality is a factor. I don't want to call out certain countries. Things like the meat and stuff is a lower quality in some countries than others. And when I have an international client base, I can tell the difference. Like, I'll just call it out. My UK lifters have to deload more often than my American lifters do. As a general rule. That one sink in. Assuming my American lifters are eating decent. Not always the case. Meat quality. You know, everyone has to get these silly ideas. Sometimes I get this, well, grass-fed, or I've got a number of people who are followers who say, well, I eat game. Well, there's no benefit to game meat. Where are you getting this data? There's no benefit to it. You prefer it, that's fine. Larger animals raised down here in Texas, like beef, our factory farm beef is higher grade and spent more time in a field in the sunshine eating grass than many countries and regions grass-fed. Okay. This matters. Now I'll say chicken and eggs, there's a difference. There's going to be a nutritional difference, I think, free range. Your beef and stuff, probably not. Not if it's raised in most of America. It's going to be higher grade by default due to our farming practices. It's higher grade beef. I venture to say that it's probably better than game meat in terms of nutrition quality. You can do what you want. Game meat's still good. You know, any pasture-raised, free-range animal, probably a good choice. But don't assume in every scenario that that's better, because it may not be. Even they did studies down here in Texas on our grass-fed versus grain-finished and didn't find a nutritional difference. They did over at Texas A&M, very familiar with them. They did some studies on that a while back looking at it to see if there was even a vitamin and mineral content difference. There's no difference. But look at the environment in which our beef is raised here. It's an optimal environment even in the worst case. So it matters. But again, getting enough fruits and vegetables. Eating a diet that's built around lean protein, lean animal proteins, lean dairy, nuts, vegetables, fruit, whole grains. Okay, this is what you want. These are the foods that are going to help your recovery. Foods that the more refined they get, the lower quality they get, the less they're going to give you the ability to control inflammation. Again, things like antioxidant status doesn't seem to have an upward trend. It's not just about the RDA. People just seem to be healthier and have lower inflammation the higher the intake of these things, irrespective of it. Okay, that's the issue with some of this. And the other thing is that a lot of the more refined foods themselves cause more inflammation by default. These are things that we're fighting with in our stimulus to recovery as lifters and athletes. Food quality does matter. You know, up to a point. There are exceptions because there are some people whose training loads are just so insanely high that they need junk food to even hit their calories. But that's not the majority of you out there, and that's not even the majority of you out there who are competing in sports. Those are outliers. I have personal friends who are in those categories. They're extreme individuals. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I will talk to you guys next time.